Hello.
Hi there, it's Mrs. Flynn.
Miss Stadnick.
And Mr. Collier.
And we're here to talk to you about criteria B in the box rules. So you already did this for a formative in class. Let's just read over really quickly the rules to the box.
Okay. 10 by 10 grid is numbered from 1 to 100. A box is drawn on the grid. This box contains the numbers 1 to 11 and 12. That box is then moved to the right to contain 2, 3, 12, and 13. So that's the second box. Is then moved again to contain 3, 4, 13, and 14. So that's the third box. This pattern continues. You are to look for patterns in the sums of these boxes.
Well, let's underline that sums because we're looking at the sums here. So if we look, it's told us what we're starting with. The first box starts with 1, and we have a sum of, if we add those all up, 11 plus 12.
1 plus 2 plus 11 plus 12 gives us
26.
26.
All right, so when we start with 1, we have a sum of 26.
Yeah.
Well, what if we did the blue box?
Okay, in the blue box, we would do 2 plus 3 plus 12 plus 13, and we get 30.
So this is what you want to do to just first kind of investigate what's going on. You can kind of recognize any patterns here.
Okay, just let me do the third box here.
Third box here.
And then we'll take a look at the tasks we're going to do.
Okay, now we have an idea of what the whole rules are. And number 1 says write an introduction. Well, we're going to leave the communication part to you guys on your paper, and we're just going to worry about criteria B.
So firstly, we're going to define the independent and dependent variables. So let's take a look back at our chart here.
So what are our two variables? What two things are changing?
So if we take a look at this number here, 1, 2, and 3, that's our box number 1, our box number 2, and our box number 3.
So how could we identify that number 1?
Well, if you look real closely in box number 2, there's a 2 right here in the top left corner.
Oh, top left corner. That's good. That's
and
good.
in box number 3, there's a 3 in the top left corner.
So let's be specific and not just say box number. Let's say the top left corner of the box.
Yeah, so we can say top left corner for this variable.
And what's the other variable here? What other two things are changing? It is the sum. And it's the sum of all the...
And specifically, we could call it maybe the box sum.
The box sum, okay.
Yeah, this is the sum of all the numbers in the box. So those are our two
So now
variables.
let's state those. So to properly state them, we should probably pick some variables. We have to figure out which one's independent and which one's dependent.
Exactly. So if we look at what's happening here, we have the top left corner number is increasing by 1 each time, and then we get the box sum based on what the top left corner number is.
So the box sum depends on the top left corner.
Exactly. So that would make the box sum the dependent variable.
Since it depends on the top left corner.
Yeah, and let's give that a symbol, a variable.
Let's call it not BS, Mr. Collier.
No,
that's not a good idea.
That was my suggestion, but maybe not.
You always want to use just one variable too, whenever you're defining your variables. So we could call it B.
Yeah,
I
capital
like B better than S because S kind of looks like a 5. So.
Exactly. So well, B kind of looks like an 8, so we have to be careful.
Oh yeah, I guess. Okay.
That's okay. I'll try to make my B nice and straight there.
Okay.
And the top left corner number, we can give that. I don't know. I usually like to use N for the independent variable. We call that the top left number. Maybe.
Might not be very intuitive to call top left corner N, but that's okay.
Top left. We call it top left number, and we can use N for the top left number.
All right.
All right. So that's the top left number.
All right.
Independent variable.
It's very important that you're stating which one's the independent variable and which one's the dependent variable. So make sure that is in your write-up.
Yeah, and what's the next step?
Okay, so introduction's done. Define independent and dependent variables. Set up a table.
Okay, so I'm going to draw a nice table here.
It's pretty good.
We're going to have N, and we said BS for the...
Just B.
Just B, okay, just B.
I'm so silly.
And the first box was numbered 1, and then we had 2 and 3, and we'll go up to 4 or 5? 4.
Yeah, I think
4 is
4 is
fine.
okay.
Okay.
And I don't know, do we need to write the sums out since we already were investigating back on the first page here? Do we need to write 1 plus 2?
Well, we did the first 3, so we can.
So do you think we could just
Right.
skip ahead and write 26,
Yeah, I think
30,
we can
34?
just write those numbers in. That was
Okay.
26, 30, 34. Can we think about the next one? Can we
Ooh,
predict
I
what
have
the
a
next
guess,
one
I
will
have a
be?
guess.
What would that be?
I'm guessing 38.
100?
38.
38. Okay. Why did you come up with that guess?
Well, because I recognize that it's constantly increasing at a rate of positive 4.
Yeah, it looks like the numbers are increasing by 4. I'm going to take a look at why that is a bit later. It looks like each box sum is increasing by 4.
So if we had to describe this pattern in words, how would we go about doing that?
I guess that would be exactly it, right? We could just say the box sum is increasing by 4.
Yeah, we could say maybe as I forget what N stands for because it's,
The
as the top
number.
left number
Yeah.
increases by 1,
Yeah, that's good.
as the top left corner
Top
number,
left number.
I forgot your T,
Oh, the top left number
increases by 1,
increases by 1.
the sum
The sum, yeah,
of the box,
or box sum
yeah, that's better.
increases by 4.
I think that's a good description there. So where do you think this falls on our rubric?
Ah, yes, the rubric. So this is the 3-4 box of our rubric, and let's see if we've managed to do these things. The student sets up the table correctly, so I think we did a good
Oh
job
yeah,
of that.
we're pretty good at that.
And the
check.
student describes the pattern in words. We did that as well. So
It's a good idea as you're doing your summative assessments to always look back at the rubric, and you can even put your own little check marks there to make sure that you're hitting every criteria.
exactly, and this is the end of part 1 of the video. Stay
Yep.
tuned for part 2.